All right, today I wanted to show you how you can change some old containers or different things that you might have at your house that are trash into home decor. So it's trash to treasure home decor pieces that are super simple, super easy, and just to give you some inspiration for things you can do. So I'm using a lot of different things from my house that I just saved, washed out, let it dry, and now I'm using them to make home decor. For the first one, it is going to be a spice container. So for a lot of these, I'm going to be just cutting off the little top that, has the grooves that you screw it closed. And I am hot gluing the bottom of this to a Dollar Tree serving plate. I like the squarish rectangle shape of it. You can do this DIY with something else if you don't have this piece, but I like the shape of it because it gives it a uniqueness. So you have the oval and then you have that rectangle piece. And I just think it's something nice. So it's kind of like a pedestal tray. I first wanted to do it with a silver, but I didn't like the way it looked. It looked kind of plasticky. So I came in with this hammered spray paint and filled it with moss and Dollar Tree candles. And this is how it came out. Now for this next trash to treasure flip of the items that you have that you might toss in the trash. It is a Parmesan container. Usually they come smaller. I got mine, from Costco, so it is a bit bigger than it would normally be. You can cut the top off. You can sand down any rough edges. I couldn't find a good piece of sandpaper, so I just wanted to, give you an idea. I'm taking and reusing the top. You don't even have to have a base for this, really, but I'm just reusing the top and I'm gluing the open side to the bottom side of it. And, it'll have little ridges and stuff on it. So I don't want it to stay looking like a top. So I'm just covering it with some Dollar Tree caulk. And you can smooth this out, but I'm giving it like a rough type look. You can also do this in two different colors. I painted mine all one color, but you can do it in two colors. But I used this great spray paint that I found, and this is how it came out. Now for this one. This one is not something that you'll find. I got this cup from Target Dollar Spot, I believe, and I left it in the center part of the stove, like the griddle part, and the heat melted it, so it curved it in. So you can probably do this with a heat gun, not direct fire, but just something warm that would make the plastic soft, and you can shape it however you want. Again, I cut the top off and I cut the little hoop off. So this gives me that feel of those like boho style home decor pieces that for some reason cost so much to look, that odd shape. So if you have a hard piece of plastic, you can reshape it into one of those shapes and then just give it that, boho inspired modern home decor look for like super duper fraction of the cost. Again, I glued the top to it because it was a little wobbly after it melted like that, and I'm just doing the baking soda and paint mixture, which gives it that texture, and I think that kind of look also adds to the boho vibe. And so I just gave it 2 coats of that. You could spray paint it, you could glam this, you could do so many different things with this, but just as a way to reuse something that would have been trash, because after it melted I really didn't want to use it as a container. Now for this one, another simple one. So these are I'm just turning everything basically into like a vase, right? One of them I'm not going to be turning into a vase. But this is just like the OxyClean, the cleaner. I put it in my laundry. You can put it in your, you can clean your house different ways with it. But again, I'm using the baking soda and paint mixture. You can put a base on this. You can put, I think like a squarish looking base would be cute. You can reuse the top. You can do different things. But I'm just going to leave mine, as is. I'm not going to cut the top off of this one, but I am going to try to cover up the ridges with the Dollar Tree caulk again, just to make it kind of look like one piece. And then I'm going to, I did it while the caulk was still wet so that it could kind of blend in, if that makes sense. But I just used the baking soda and paint mixture and I just gave this one coat. I didn't do 2 coats on this one, but I gave the whole thing a coat just to give it that texture, because you can see the difference from the smoothness of the container to the little bit of texture that it has there. And then once it dries, I just came in and gave it a coat of black spray paint, filled it with flowers, and that's how it came out. Okay, now for this one, another super simple one, cutting off the top again. You can leave these tops. You can garnish them with some other type things. This one is inspired by a piece that I saw that was super duper expensive, and it had like a 2-tone look, and the top had texture and then the bottom was kind of plain. But I like the shape of this. This is the fabric softener beads. I use those for laundry. So this is just that container, and I like the shape of it. But I'm just taking some air dry clay and I'm just rolling it out flat. I don't have a specific shape or anything like that, because the piece that I saw was kind of like that rough look, that man-made look. So I'm just making sure it's thin but not too thin, because I want it to be able to indent it when I'm done. But I'm just smoothing it over the top there and trying to make it kind of blend in with the bottom. Again, not even. You can do this even. You can cover the whole thing, which after I was done, I thought that covering the whole thing would have been a great look. But I just did the top part, kind of trying to emulate that or mock that other piece, and then I just smoothed the pieces together with my finger. You can do it with some type of tool or something like that. And first I was going to try to do the indentations with this, because it was the closest thing to me, but I didn't like it. It was too I just didn't like it. I didn't like the way that one looked. So then I just smoothed those back out. And that's the great thing about working with clay, that you can change it as long as it's not dry. You can change it and then, play around with it till you get the look you want. So I just rolled it over until it smoothed out. And then I covered the bottom with this black spray paint. Some of it did drip because I let it dry upside down. And then I went in with this gold paint. And again, I'm not being perfect with it. You want to try to not be as messy as I was, because I did get some transfer from the one color. So mine wasn't dry yet. I went in with just the bottom handle of a lint roller and I made the dents. So that was the look that I would like. I do wish I would have did the whole thing though, because I think it would have looked super awesome. Now for this one I can't remember where I got this container. It had like a little up symbol, so I'm gonna say I got it from Target. It was a spray thing from Target. I'm gonna say Target, but I lost the top to it, and I like the little shape of it. And then I have a bottom of the Dollar Tree cups. I've used these before to make candle holders, because they sit the Dollar Tree candles on it real nice. And I'm just taking, you could use also a napkin ring from the Dollar Tree, but I'm just taking and cutting off the top of the cardboard just to give it a different shape, and I'm going to glue that on top of there. So I just cut the height that I wanted of the cardboard tube, and then I'm just gluing along the insides and then placing it together, holding it still, and then I'm going to let it dry. Once that dries, then I'm going to take and put the top for the candle holder, but it's not a top for a candle holder. It's the bottom of the Dollar Tree cups. So I'm just going to put that on there, glue that on, let that dry, and make sure you get it nice and centered, because you don't want it to be wonky and wobbling around. But once everything dries there, I just took some Dollar Tree caulk, and you could just fill in the cracks. You can leave it like that. You can bling this out. This would be so cute with like some crushed glass or those crystal strips that you would put, but I did mine more of a boho vibe. Again, I'm taking the baking soda and paint mixture because, I want to add a lot of texture to this. So I'm taking that after I did the Dollar Tree caulk. You let that dry some, and then covered it so that Again, trying to have it look kind of like one piece. You can still see the little indentations. Covered it with stone spray paint, and this is how it came out. Now for this one is another inspiration for a piece that I've seen, and it's just really, you can use air dry clay for this one too, but to make it quicker and simpler, I just use Dollar Tree caulk. But if you were using the air dry clay, you would just again make a thin layer, cover it, and do the same process that I did in the end. But I just used the Dollar Tree caulk, covered the whole thing. And for this piece that I've seen before, I think it was at Anthropology, and it was upwards of 60 something or plus. I can't think of the exact price, but it was kind of pricey for it. It was a covered bottle. So once I covered the whole thing and the caulk dried some, I just take some water, you dip your finger, and you can smooth out the creases, the lines, all of that and stuff. So you don't have to do that. You can just leave it textured. But like, again, I'm trying to make like a little Anthropology dupe. So once I was done with that, while this is all still moist and wet, you want to do this, I just took a skewer and made rough lines. I don't want them to be perfect or anything like that. You could use something like a fork if you wanted yours to be perfect, but I don't want mine to be perfect. And I covered it with this spray paint, and this is how it came out.